I think we're on. I'm pretty sure we're on. Yep. Sounds like you're tearing apart your house.
I was moving modern stuff out of shot.
I'm sitting here looking like if you ever see somebody like dressed like me roll up to you in like Miami or something and like talk to you about drugs, do not talk to me. I'm a cop. Oh, okay. Now, here's the biggest disclaimer of them all. Our good friend, Captain Marrow, he asked if they wanted him to wear historical stuff because he does have historical stuff. And they no, just dress the way you normally do. Oh, okay.
Turning the label away so people don't think we're sponsored or plugging the.
Oh no, we need this right here, right here. This nice, big, beautiful.
No, we're keeping the rum bottle. I'm just saying, I'm turning the label facing that way. So people don't think we're sponsored or plugging Kraken. Is that a dark mode?
Well, here, there. We'll just pretend. We'll just say Adam sponsored us and like. No, I'm kidding. Adam did not sponsor us. All right. You have not watched this one yet.
No, not yet.
I read the premise of it. Now, keep in mind, I have reviewed Captain Marrow's books. I'm trying to figure out which one of us has a slight echo.
Probably me. I'll turn my sound down a bit. Speak.
Hello.
Better?
Yeah, a lot better. So, I read the premise. I'm like, this does not sound like anything Captain Marrow wrote about. Look, I am not from the Carolinas. I know little random bits of like folklore from my area, places I've been. Yeah, I've been to the Carolinas, but I wasn't that deep in there. So Captain Marrow is somebody who I rely on to give me some. You should check out this road sign. It's based on fictional characters. Like that's the sort of thing I'm like, okay, this. He has not written anything about this, but yet he was in this. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I give it a chance. I don't think the show got anything accurate. Okay, I shouldn't say that. They did quote some parts of history, like in regards to Charleston during the slave trade. They had some very accurate information there. Like 40% of slaves passed through Charleston. Depending on what time you're talking about, that is correct. That is very correct. And then they got into Blackbeard's blockade, and they had it. They had a good thing going, and then they went into the whole syphilis thing. And that I think was about. Oh yeah, and at the very end, they pretty much took their whole premise and just threw it away. Now, this is the part that just it frustrates me. Historians, like all of us here, I have a college degree in humanities. I have a bachelor's in humanities. I can use it for history. I can use it for just about whatever I want, but mainly history. Zander, what do you have?
I drink rum and look things up.
Captain Marrow. Adam, do you want me to send you a link and you can just come in? Give me a second here. I feel like we just need Adam in this because this is just...
He's definitely more knowledgeable than I am on this.
I was. Hang on. Where do I have my little? Come on. Copy. And okay. We'll see if we can get him on. I think the biggest red flag was the flag that they went with, which I sadly do not have a picture of. It was a skull and crossbones, which cool. That's technically a step above the classic Rackham flag, which was never even used. That's a modern invention.
Yeah.
No, it had a freaking eye patch on it. The costuming wasn't that bad. Now, I'm going to try not to be as salty as I probably could be. But, like, for example, this amazing coat that showed up. Now, was I planning on that coat being there? Of course not. There's also an amazing sword, too, that also appeared. And I need to add, like, none of the actors involved had any part in, like, the actual advising. There are quite a few folks that I don't really get along with who I know that they hold themselves at a higher standard when it comes to history, and I don't know what they would have done if they had known what this was going to be about. And then we come to Rebecca Simon. This was a massive letdown for me. I don't know if you've seen this book yet.
Done tits ain't censored.
Huh?
So done tits ain't censored.
I know. I didn't think to censor those, but you know, it's on a book cover. We'll let it be.
I mean, you can't see it anyway.
YouTube gets weird. Well, now I need to add a. If you want to get a whole video on Anne Bonny and Mary Read, Golden Gunpowders is by far the best. If you want to get some short articles that are accurate on Mary Read and Anne Bonny, Shipwrecked with Captain Marrow has some excellent ones. If you want to... Now, I never picked up this book, and I feel bad about it. Oh, here we go. The man himself.
Can you hear me?
Here we go.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Dang, this became like the dream team right now.
Yeah, sorry about the state of the room. This is my bedroom / art studio. It's a mess.
Well, we're all small on the side right now, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
for we're pirates, not interior designers.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so what's up?
All right, well, you know what? Instead of me talking about your perspective, give your perspective. Like give your own disclaimer for yourself.
And I'll do what I do best. I'm just going to drink rum and wait until there's something that I know I can comment on, and I will do with filming.
All right, so I guess as for me, I think I just typed this into the chat. But basically, I have researched folklore regarding the Southeast Coast for about 5 years or so before I finally got around to publishing the book on the Southeast Coast. And initially, when I started writing that book, it was just supposed to be a book about Charleston. I was trying to dig up everything I could about the Charleston area, just for the sake of me compiling everything just for myself. It all started off as research notes. It never was meant to be a book initially, at least. But yeah, throughout the 5 years of looking through stuff, never found anything about Anne Bonny. It's specifically in Charleston area. There is a claim that Anne Bonny's ghost haunts the Pink House on Chalmers Street. And then outside of that, you don't get another Anne Bonny relevant buried treasure story until you get up into North Carolina, where they talk about it for the Cape Fear River, which also makes no sense. But then the other Anne Bonny relevant buried treasure stories are in Florida. So whenever they reached out to me, Expedition Unknown, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be doing like a pirate relevant episode there in the Charleston area. We want you to be a part of it." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And I assume that it's going to be about Blackbeard or some Stede Bonnet claim. But they don't actually disclose to me any of the information about what the episode's even going to be about until I actually get there on set. When we got there on set, it's like, "Hey, here's your fellow castmates. This is Anne Bonny. This is Rackham." I'm like, "Okay, so we're not talking about even Blackbeard or Stede Bonnet. All right. I have no idea why we're filming this." Because they don't tell us, what the premise even is. That we're just there to do our job as actors. They don't disclose the rest of the episode. I think the only thing they told us once we were there was Josh is going to be looking for a lost trading post and Anne Bonny's buried treasure in the areas around Charleston. I'm like, okay. Let's proceed then. And the other people that were there, like I said, I did not initially, I wasn't allowed to say anything about who all is involved, but as you saw, Crew the Scavenger was also involved.
Yeah.
And I will say,
I have some beef with them, but I know how they carry themselves with history, and I feel like they need protected too. I hate to say it that way.
So I will say that I don't know what the hell was up with that flag thing, because we actually hoisted the flag of the Crew of the Scavenger. We spent time on the ship of the Adventure. We attached the Crew of the Scavenger's Skull and Crossbones flag to the main.
Donald handmade that, didn't he? Like the one that they have. That's
the hand stitch one.
Like that. That's up there with mine on being as accurate as you can get with what one of the flags would look like.
Yeah, they brought the Crew of the Scavenger brought theirs, and then I also went ahead and brought mine in case no one else did. And so both my hand stitch flag and their hand stitch flag was there on set. And I think they just pulled theirs out of the bag first and proposed it first, so they got to use their flag. I'm like, damn, it would have been cool to have had my flag on TV, but turns out theirs didn't get on TV either. We shot the scenes of us going onto the ship. We pulled the ropes. We raised it up to the top mast. They shot it from 3 different angles. They shot it going up the pole, and then also when it was up there at top, because they were waiting for a good breeze to come by and actually blow it just right. And they shot it from multiple angles. So when we had the watch party and we saw the Skull and Crossbones flag with an eye patch on it, everybody was like, "That's weird." We weren't expecting that. So don't know what happened to that footage of a real hand-stitched, not cheesy flag, but didn't make the cut.
It just seemed like some of their choices just seemed so... You'd have somebody 100% historically accurate, and then there'd be somebody that's Spirit Halloween level.
Well, I already commented on while I was getting ready, pre-stream, Adam.
Yeah.
This picture of Josh here, I'm like, oh, so we got these planes, the hat, the vest thing with a zipper. I'm like, and then we've got coins on the left. I'm like, so this is an idiot cosplaying as Indiana Jones.
That is the look.
Now, I have angered a few people within like the popular archaeology and history community by pointing out that Josh Gates is also the same guy who I think it was either last year or the year before discovered a grave site over in Petra that had already been excavated and was only still at artifacts because they wanted to leave it in situ and then come back and like preserve things properly.
Mhm.
So not only did he discover a grave that was already there, but they messed with the site.
Right.
Oh dear.
I don't know what it is with some of these American TV personalities
I do.
messing with UNESCO, basically.
I do. They're hacks, right? So they make shit up to sell things. It is the very definition of what the Victorians did. If they had shitty little Netflix series or with some Discovery, they could do that. They would. That's what it is. It's the evolution of the dime comic.
Let's polish the painted armor so it looks the way we think it should.
Yeah, basically.
I will say that I agree with some stuff about like how some people view, say, the Oak Island treasure. Basically, those people have made more money off of the production of the Oak Island show than they actually would have if they would have actually found the treasure by now. Like the actual treasure is pointless. The hunt and the production is the real treasure. So I think it's along the lines of that. It's like, yeah, it doesn't even matter if Josh Gates doesn't find anything. The fact that, there's production to be done and viewers, and like it doesn't matter if he finds anything or not. People still watch it and still make money.
Which brings me to the thing which is I was talking about, and I'm like, no, we gotta bring Adam on here. So let's go to. Well, first off, let me start with Josh Gates. Josh Gates actually has a degree, I believe, in archaeology.
Yes, he does.
So I'm putting him in this. Here's a little. I have a bubble. I'm about to throw somebody else into this little bubble. Rebecca Simon has a PhD in history from King's College, London.
Sorry.
And now, initially, I think I've told both of you this separately. I did not want to get this book because the story of Anne Bonny and Mary Read that is true is maybe like that much. Like that'd be the size of the book.
Yeah, it's 2 months of history.
And thrown in some debunking, yeah, make it a little bit like that, might work. Yeah. And then the rest would have to be like just background on the time period.
Yeah, and context surrounding it.
Which, don't get me wrong.
Why it's unique, why they are unique, and all that stuff.
I love like a rehash summary of pirate stories, but once you've gotten to this point of reading so many of them, it's like, I don't care who wrote it. I don't want to hear it. Benderson Little, like if he just wrote just a general history book, I might read it. But I couldn't really bring myself to get the book. And I feel bad about it because now I got to find out there's a story that goes across the Daily Mail about how Anne Bonny and Mary Read, before they would kill a man, would show off their bosom. Mm-hmm. I thought this was the Daily Mail.
Can we say titties or no?
We're already demonetized,
okay.
So I think we can. We're far enough away from the intro that I don't think it's going to get shut down. I think we can say
proceed.
Being a man of culture, I'm going to continue to say breasts.
Okay.
Testicles, I don't know. The thing is,
I second chesticles.
I thought this came from the Daily Mail. This just sounded like a Daily Mail thing. Mm. It was Rebecca Simon. She took this later image. Notice I censored this one.
I see.
She took this later image and tried to write a narrative around it without considering the most basic thing that's been a thing since humans could draw things. In my notes, I have it very clear as day. Let's see. Sex sells. But no, she decided to make this whole convoluted story about it. And then, talking to other historians, I find out that this has been an ongoing problem with her. When you are a professional historian, you need to really pay attention to what you say. You need to carry on the discipline as a discipline. We have a great opportunity as scholars in that we can do this anywhere we want. It's not like you can't teach yourself to be a chemist legally in many cases, but a historian, you can teach yourself to be a historian.
Right.
And if this is the sort of, if just trust me, bro, is your source, you don't deserve to have that title.
Yeah, like one of the things about that picture, of course, is, this was created by someone who never saw these people. This was from a Dutch engraver?
I think this one was English.
Okay.
This one is, I believe, the Dutch, or I might have them backwards.
No, I think you're correct. Yeah,
this one's the earlier one now.
Yeah. Either way.
The other one. See, the English, we made them look, at least we made them look a little bit hot, a little bit saucy. What the fuck are those?
But, yeah, engraved by people that never saw them, and like you said, you already wrote down the word sex sells. And when you're trying to showcase something for a new edition, that's attention grabbing.
Yeah, this is why this is not the popular image.
Right, exactly. Otherwise, this would be on the cover of the book.
I hear they look like two grandmas that ran away from the nursing home with swords.
This is just
here, boom, we got star.
The English did it right. The other one, do you know this? Like the term sea dog. A new term has just popped into my head: sea hag. Salty sea hag.
Okay, well, right here. I just found out I can actually add comments to the boom.
So basically, regarding that, whenever we first get it's your thing. Should I be answering this?
Go ahead. Yeah, speak.
All right, I'm in Charleston. So basically, the first notice that we get of Anne Bonny, she pops up in Nassau, and then anything before her being in Nassau is all speculation. Her father did operate as a lawyer here in Charleston, so it's assumed that she came from here before being in Nassau. There's a whole entire believed history of Anne Bonny in Charleston. If you're here in Charleston, some people will straight up claim, as if it were entirely fact, that Anne Bonny is from Charleston, or at least grew up in Charleston when her father relocated over here from Cork County, Ireland. And while her father did...
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But again, that's what people state here as fact. But the truth of it is that she arrives in Nassau married to James Bonny. And we don't know where she came from before then. We just assume probably from Charleston. But that's about it. The actual folklore surrounding her, there's a whole story about when she was here in Charleston. She stabbed her father's indentured help at his home or whatever, and then she was a rebellious teenager, is the story that they spin. She was a rebellious teenager, and she was no good and all this stuff, and she didn't want to be a prim and proper Southern lady and this and this, so she married James Bonny to escape Charleston because he was a sailor, and they eloped out to Nassau, and then she gets in trouble and she becomes the badass Anne Bonny. Like, that's basically the story that is spun.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? City Sword Ho.
I added Mistress of the Sea onto the background since that's where a good chunk of this whole freaking episode came from.
But yeah, so that's all there really is about Anne Bonny. Is she pops up in Nassau historically, and we just assume that before that point in time, she was in Charleston because her father was in Charleston. That's all we really know.
Yeah, this is Woodes Rogers, one of the first mentions of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's one of the lines that just I could not believe this was stated by a PhD historian. Well, Forbes considers her to be one of the greatest pirates of all time.
Yeah, from my understanding, that's where the premise of this entire episode came from, is a Forbes.com article. That's the origin of the claim, as far as I know.
Now, I wonder if, like, on the scale of pirates, if she was before or after Elon Musk. I have not even looked for that list because it's Forbes. It's like 50 years down the road, if I'm like, I'll be 87. Oy.
It's just political posturing, the message, women better than men.
Pulling up Forbes magazine.
Never do any wrong. It's all that bullshit.
That would be a historical document at that point, but at this point, it's just one of the pirates that we know their names, and the only reason we know their names is Daniel Defoe and possibly people who were friends with Daniel Defoe. Okay, now where I also was getting annoyed at how much they were throwing the word historians around. Just because you can take a fictional book, find somebody with the same last name from that fictional book, that's where we get the Cormac.
Yeah.
Is from that 1964, and he claimed to have all this research, and it consisted of, trust me, bro. Yeah, you're gonna find a lot of people with like a last name like Cormac. Cormac's not that rare of a name.
Yeah, it's a common last name.
Finding William Cormac. I mean, how many James Browns have we found? And that's not including the singer. They get excited over finding an old nail. Okay, that's great, but they ignore all the history of South Carolina. They act like this one person could be the only person that was ever on that spot. Never mind, like, the Civil War happened and buildings were torn down, stuff got moved around a lot. Never mind the American Revolution, that buildings got torn down and stuff got moved around a lot.
Set on fire. Don't forget set on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Both times. Stuff was getting reused. You had, if going back to that time period, I mean, what was the Native American War down there at that time?
It was the Yamasee War, 1715. That's one of the reasons why Blackbeard actually decided to blockade and attack Charleston, is because he was aware of the fact that the port city was still having like issues recovering from the Yamasee War. So he's like, okay, they're still war out. Let me go ahead and try this there. Good bet.
The one question I kept asking in my notes: where is this treasure even coming from?
Forbes.com.
Well, no, I'm saying like, where was the?
Obviously, the 12 fishing boats, or was it? Was it 12?
I think it was 12. It was not a big number.
The Legend of the Golden Cod.
It's a bunch of buried fish.
Like, I cannot stress this enough. Jack Rackham, Mary Read, and Anne Bonny were not successful pirates.
Correct.
Like, even on like a Somalia pirate level, they were not successful pirates.
Yeah, and technically, probably Rackham wouldn't even be like a name that we would know if they wouldn't have like, tried to push for Anne Bonny, Mary Read, etc.
Yeah.
He just would have been a footnote for Vane. Like a very minor footnote where he, did stuff.
One of the first bits of treasure that they find at this site is a King George II coin.
Mhm.
There's a problem with that as being part of a pirate treasure.
A little late.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Now, could she have like taken what she had and like transferred it over to more current currency? I mean, I guess I just don't see that happening. And then finding a lock supposedly from the 1700s.
Mhm.
Okay, but that goes back to the whole point of people lived there.
Right. Sometimes
don't
people want to lock things.
Don't forget the spoon.
Oh my God!
There's empirical evidence right there. They found a spoon.
Here's one thing that they actually did right. They were using LiDAR to find a house site. And sure enough, they did. They found brickwork and things like that. To me, that's something like, maybe you should grid this. Like I talked about in my video bashing Barry Clifford, like set up a grid, like actually dig a test pit, start looking at the site. No. That's when they find the spoon. Oh yeah, and a William Pitt Stamp Act button from 1765 or no 1766.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely golden age of piracy right there. Let me tell you. And it was like right after that they found the piece of silverware JB on it.
Obviously, it's James Bonny's spoon. No one
Yeah.
else ever had those initials.
No, James Bond went back in time and did some shit for MI5.
Took his
I'm
spoon.
going
The way we wanted it to go.
I'm going with James Brown, one of the pirates that of Henry Every's crew that more than likely did get hanged. Well, no, he didn't get hanged. He most likely got sick on his way over to be hanged. He's another one of the like that's the other thing. There are so many pirates that we do know about that we do have like detailed records about that are far more interesting and did a lot more than rob a few shipping boats. But now we've got to make up stories about Mary Read and Anne Bonny.
But they're women.
Now, the one cool thing they did find was a side plate for possibly a musket.
Mhm.
That was after they decided to go look for this trading post.
Right. Which, from my understanding, based on how they were talking about it geography-wise, I want to say that area that they got to for shooting those scenes was around Beaufort, South Carolina, about
Yep.
maybe, I don't know, was it an hour and a half further down along the coast, something like that.
And were there traders operating in those areas? Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they doing some of it secretly? Definitely. Was it Anne Bonny? No.
Yeah, the hardest thing to justify regarding all of this is when did she have the time to do it? Like that's the problem with like all the claims here in the Charleston area too. It's like oh yeah, she haunts the Pink House because she used to operate it as a brothel. It's like when? When did she take time for this endeavor?
I got really excited because they're like finding huge blocks of coral because I love paleontology. I love that stuff. I'm like, oh, they're going to talk about some of the like pre-hit up. Nope, they're calling them ballast stones. Never mind that area was once a seabed.
Yeah, and you don't really use coral as ballast.
No.
Like it's not dense enough. That's what you use rocks because you need less of them. You would need way more coral than you would actual ballast stones. Like using actual coral is it's like the shittiest way of trying to ballast down a ship. I mean, I'm sure there's shittier ways, but
Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. Where's the? Oh yeah, I've noticed something with both Josh Gates and Scott Walter. They both have to have driving sequences.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why.
I think it's just to push the travel. It's like to the viewers. It's like, look, we're on the road. We're driving from point A to point B. It's like the Indiana Jones angle. You got the red line going across the map. The
Well, here.
driving sequence replaces that.
I had to fix a coolant line yesterday. So there. I put that on just because I had a feeling that the topic would turn into. And it's always like Josh Gates had what did he have? I marked it down. It was a Land Rover. I forget what model.
Yeah, I was gonna say a Land Rover, but I don't know.
And then Scott Walter had some sports car. I mean, I will give Josh Gates credit. He was driving in a straight line. Scott Walter, when I was watching his little clips, he's like crossing that line. I'm like, dude, calm down, man.
The wind was against him. He had to do some tacking.
He was trying to make sure those Templars didn't run away from him.
He's like,
some of the line...
He's beat me to the punch.
And as somebody who does a lot of stuff like outdoors, I'm friends with a lot of outdoors folks. The one thing that was really driving me nuts with those airboat sequences, those are very narrow channels.
Yeah, they are.
People fish in those. Mm-hmm. Why were they driving like absolute morons, through those channels with those boats?
I don't know. And also, I will say that having lived here for 16 years, I've never seen anyone actually use an airboat on any of these channels. Everyone just has their normal ass boat. Like, I haven't seen one of those airboats until I went down to Florida.
I was down in like Louisiana. They're all over the place there. That was like, there's just so many little things with this, like this whole thing. Like, did they just make this up and just bring people in?
Bring a handful of artifacts to stick in the ground? I don't know.
The Carolinas is another spot like Madagascar where I would actually be more impressed if you didn't find anything.
Right. I mean, yeah, tons of history here. I mean, I feel like a lot of places, if you search around enough, you'll find something, especially along the coast.
Yeah.
Up in the mountains, maybe not. Along the coast, yes.
And there's me writing my angry notes throughout the whole thing about this lovely thing.
Indeed.
Which I need to add, this is how Josh Gates concludes the episode. But then he's like, but some of us have hope or some stupid thing like that.
Well, hope, Wallace, you'll come back and set the record straight. Not actually dead. It's been I've got the knitting business for a bit. Really old Anne Bonny.
I will say that I'm definitely in the same. I don't know. I'm definitely in the group with like as far as I'm concerned, this is probably as close as we'll ever get to conclusive evidence about what happened to Anne Bonny.
Yeah.
Like this is way too big of a coincidence for this to have not been her. And like everyone that I know, like pretty much agrees with that. This is generally received as like fact. So it was weird to see Rebecca Simon say otherwise on it because, from my understanding, through having discussed with Matt McLean, he was saying that from what he'd seen of her saying before, whenever this evidence was first brought up, she saw it and she's like, "Okay, yeah, that solves that. I agree with this 100%." She's like, this hadn't surfaced when she'd written her book, but now that this has surfaced, she's like, "Yeah, this is totally it. This is what happened to Anne Bonny," and she agreed with that. But then when she was on TV, they're like, "Do you agree with this?" And she's like, "No, the treasure could still be out there. I think she got away and lived for X amount of years and had a whole life."
I am still stuck on that whole treasure thing.
But just where the treasure comes from for her?
Yeah, like, wow. I bet it was fish hooks.
I mean, from having written books on buried treasure myths, usually whenever it's a situation of where someone has more money than they're supposed to have, it's usually attributed to something that like was incredibly obscure knowledge. Like we don't know it, but Anne Bonny and Mary Read and Rackham, like they hit this one ship that no survivors were left, and they ended up with more on board than they could like comfortably carry. So they had to drop some of it off somewhere, and this, and this. So when they get captured later, it's like, oh, there were no witnesses from that ship, so it doesn't get mentioned in the trial transcript. That type of stuff. There's always some like unrecorded ship that they got it from. That's probably the same thing here. I assume wherever the story came from.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A story has to come from somewhere. So it's like someone at some point knew something. So you should be able to follow the sources back. If it's just trust me, bro.
Right.
Honestly, that's the part that's I think bugging me the most because most like the Tartarians, my favorite group of nut jobs on the internet, I can track down where their stories are coming from. I can find that source author that started this, and then this went to that, and then I can track that down. This whole thing, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like I can get, yeah, there's stories that her father might have shown up in South Carolina. Cool. What book are you using? Oh, that book that most of us agree is completely fiction. Okay. Do you have another source? Oh, that book that cites that book that we agree is completely fiction. Oh, okay. Do you have an actual source outside of that book that's completely a Forbes article that cites that book that's completely fiction?
Yeah, like you run into the same problem with like other buried treasure myths regarding Anne Bonny. Like for example, in my Southeast book, I talk about like the only real Anne Bonny buried treasure story I even remember is one that has to do with the western coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast, and it's something about just from memory. It's like her and Rackham. It's like their honeymoon spot is what they call it, and like they show up there and they bury some treasure and whatnot, and then they never get around to coming back and retrieving it. 'Cause, they get captured, etc., etc. And again, it's never even mentioned like where the proposed treasure came from. That's the other thing. Most buried treasure stories, they don't really get into the details of where it came from. Just they had money and they had to put it somewhere, so this is attributed to them. But I mean, at least with that story, you're able to track it back to figure out like where it came from. It came from a resort. It came from a resort that was built at Honeymoon Bay, uh, like in 1911 or something like that. And like it wasn't long before like some sort of story got spun by them and then perpetuated. So like that's at least a story that you can track back to like where it came from. It's like, okay, that makes sense. It came from a resort. This one doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have an origin.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And the people that they're finding, like we keep, like you and I have talked about, like with the airboats and everything else. It's where are these people even coming from that are supposedly these historians?
well, I know that Rebecca Simon, like I said,
Oh yeah, except her.
well, I mean with Rebecca Simon, it's like she isn't from here either. They actually flew her in from California. They flew her in from California and they stuck her in the library to pass her off as like a local historian. So there's that.
Even though she shows up on every single show dealing with pirate history, whether it be an American show or a British show. And I'm going to say this right now, and the same thing that goes back to the argument I made against the Widow Museum.
Mm.
When you, as a professional, start putting out absolute BS, I call into all your past work. I call into question that, because there's, what's to say you didn't make up this story or this story? It might be 100% true. You might have evidence, but because you keep lying, or at the very least, now I'd consider just trust me, bro, as a source to be lying. As a historian, I would consider it.
Yeah, if you're not sure, you should say this is an unverified source.
Right.
I don't know where it comes from. That's just what I do. If I find something that I find interesting, I go, look, I found this, don't know where it comes from. If anyone has any more information, please let me know. Ask for help if you don't know, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They want to be little narcissists. I know everything. I'm never wrong. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I now question like literally every appearance she has made, because it's like, is anything that you said true? And for like the audience watching, like, can I say to them, yeah, this is a good show. The historian that's speaking is Rebecca Simon. You can trust her on this show, but don't trust anything else she's like. How does that work?
One second.
I mean, I think about me with like the sashes, and I always would say, no, British sailors didn't have sashes. Well, guess what? I got proven wrong. So guess what I've been pushing? Look at this picture of English sailors wearing sashes. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here. Because I was wrong, and I admit to be wrong. And when you're in a profession like that, when you get that chance to be wrong, be wrong. It's okay.
Yeah, people make mistakes. And it's better that you own up to it so people don't just discredit you.
Exactly.
But yeah, so do you happen to have any questions about the filming on set? Anything regarding that?
I mean, was it at least fun?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely fun. I will say that it was surprising to see. I mean, I guess this is what's going to happen with like any sort of production, but it was surprising to see that, like, you know, of what made the cut was probably like all those scenes stitched together that we filmed is probably, I don't know, 30 seconds long in total. If you pull every single clip and then stitch it together, maybe 30 seconds. And that's despite us filming from like 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. So 11 hours. Yeah, it was like 11-hour shoot. But it was a lot of fun. I will say it was a good time. The people I got to meet there were fun, nice people. The girl that came down from New York to be Anne Bonny, they flew her down from New York, and her name is Nicole Wheeler. She's been on NCIS before, so she's been on some bigger stuff. And then one of the there was one particular scene where you'll see me like casting a woman to the deck of a ship. The woman that I threw to the deck of the ship, she's actually the body double for Dustin in Stranger Things.
Oh, wow.
Season. And then she's also the body double for someone on some of the seasons of Walking Dead. So
Cool.
I got to throw a legit actress to the deck of a ship.
If you notice, there you should see a little plus button or something somewhere on the bottom. If you want to throw any pictures up from behind the scenes, go for it.
I won't be able to because that's all on my phone. I haven't put on the PC yet. But yeah, as a whole, all of it was good. I did not get a chance to meet Josh Gates. I will say that. While we were filming at Charlestown Landing and aboard the Adventure, he and his film crew were going through basically Charleston and digging who knows where, doing all that stuff. So unfortunately, the two film crews never really met each other. So I didn't get a chance to meet the guy, shake his hand, whatever. I did gift him a copy of my book for the Southeast Coast, and then
Hopefully he reads it.
we'll see. I was like, if nothing else, like here's some cool ideas for you if you want to go look for them. But yeah, as a whole, good experience.
Him and Scott Walter both. It may surprise y'all, but I actually would not mind meeting them.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a nice guy.
They actually seem like somebody that it would be cool to hang out with.
Yeah.
Now, what's his face with the oh my gosh, Graham Hancock. Oh yeah. Nope, he's somebody I don't want to meet. But Josh Gates definitely does seem like a cool person. I just wish his producers would actually do some homework.
I mean, like I've told other people, it's like if they did get a historian on board, like a local historian, and they actually listened to the actual historian's advice, they wouldn't have an episode as well. It's like they reached out to me, and I offered my services. I'm like, hey, I'll be the local historian. If you need to reach out to someone, I'm happy to not only be like an actor for like the pirate stuff, but like I can do an interview, I can do whatever. I was like, I've published books on the topic. I've published 2 books on Charleston pirate history, all that stuff. Here's my page. You can see that I have a decent following, all that type of stuff. And they're like, no, we just need you to be a pirate in the background stuff. I'm like, all right, understood. But I know that in like almost every episode, they do reach out to a local historian. And I'm friends with the other ones. Here in the Charleston area, there's myself, Matt McLean. He's about 30 minutes away from me. And then also about 30 minutes away, there's also Eric Lavender. He does tours and stuff downtown Charleston. He's been doing that since the 90s. Pretty knowledgeable dude. He's been working on a book to publish about Charles Vane, but it's not quite done yet. And then there's also Christopher Bird Downey, and he does tours in downtown Charleston as well. And he published a book called Charleston: The Golden Age of Piracy, a small Arcadia book. And then also he published a small book on Stede Bonnet as well. So there's the 4 of us. The 4 of us who do pirate history stuff here in Charleston. I'm friends with all of them, and when they're like, "Yeah, we don't really need you," I'm like, "Okay, well, who are they going to go with?" And it turns out it wasn't the other 3 either. But Rebecca Simon was the one who wrote a book on Anne Bonny, and the episode's about Anne Bonny, not about Charleston pirates.
I feel like they needed an episode and just literally just made stuff up. Like that's the only
Maybe.
explanation I can come up with.
We should re-lyric that Voltaire song, USS Make Shit Up. You know the one about Star Trek? We should re-lyric that.
That, again, it goes back. Like, I know where people get their bullshit from. This one, I don't know where the bull is. Like, okay, here's my question. If you had, like, enough of this history that there is some mystery or there might be something that needs to be found, what would you like to see? Like, it can be as outlandish as you want, as long as it's grounded in reality. What would you like to see made for Charleston like that?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, is the premise buried treasure?
Yeah. Or buried artifacts of some kind. Something cool.
I mean, if there's a treasure hunt in Charleston for pirate treasure, I want it to be the one regarding Isle of Palms near me. I think that was the one that I mentioned to you, like when we talked and did like an interview on my book when it first came out.
Yep. Yep.
But the brief TLDR, 1741, there's a Spanish privateer ship that leaves St. Augustine, bound for Spain, and it has treasure and stuff on it. This was a real captain. This was a real ship. It did depart on that specific date. This was not a fictional ship, not a fictional captain, etc. It was a Spanish privateer vessel, and all the records from this comes from a provost judge in downtown Charleston. He recorded the trial. He recorded everything that transpired. Basically, the Spanish privateer ship wrecked upon Isle of Palms, and then some people from Georgetown, which is about maybe an hour up the coast from Charleston, they came across the overturned ship up against the beach, were able to round up the Spanish privateers and brought them into Charleston, where the provost judge gave them a court, a trial case, etc. And according to the Spanish privateers, whenever they wrecked upon Isle of Palms, they buried wherever they had, because they knew that they had wrecked ashore at English-controlled territory, and they didn't know what was going to happen to them or the cargo, so they went ahead and deposited it at the northern end of Isle of Palms. And they stated this in court, and the court, the trial transcript or whatever for it basically just mentions, at the end, the people from Georgetown are interested in going off and looking for it, and the provost judge, something Gleason, he's like, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. If you find anything, part of it belongs to Charlestown, etc., etc. And it pretty much just stops there. Like, it's, if the Spanish privateers were telling the truth, and also the people from Georgetown actually did go looking for it, and if they did go looking for it and they didn't find it, then, maybe there's something out there. It's the most reasonable buried treasure story regarding pirates that, like, South Carolina has. And, like, yeah, no one knows about that. I mean, it's in my book. It's my favorite entry in the book for the state of South Carolina, at least. But, I mean, not that anyone knows about it, but if someone were to do an episode for it or a hunt for it, it's like, yeah, that one would be interesting to me. Obscure stuff.
It's really weird because, like, same time period, if I remember correctly, that's where they have now a similar wreck, Spanish privateers. That's where they think, like, the Aztec ponies came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the outer
apparently
horses.
There's apparently been new, like, DNA evidence now that's like they're actually Spanish horses. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Zander, same question for you, because a lot of these shows, you'll have them go over to London and be like, we're looking for the Knights Templar.
Honestly, wherever not even if they find it, if they just figure out if he was lying or not, Captain Kidd, I mean, he was executed in Wapping. It's my birthday, funny enough. 23rd, not my actual birthday. I'm not that old. I wasn't born.
Happy birthday! Oh, cool! I survived.
Yeah, I watched it. It was my
so what you're saying is you're the reincarnation.
I hope I'd be a bit more successful than Kidd, but and he was Scottish. I'm English. But no, I'd like if they eventually got to the bottom of that. I think he was lying just to fuck with them out of spite.
Oh yeah, I'm in that camp too.
I mean, he turned up to his execution drunk. He was obviously trolling them.
Oh, I would definitely do the same though.
But it would be good if they actually, found a source or something. Either one of his crew wrote something down, like, yeah, it's bollocks, anything, or they actually find something. Either way, it would be nice to put that one to bed.
Even then, there's still going to be people. No, but my great-grandfather's cousin's nephew, sister's brother.
Or don't.
Told me about it.
There's a exhibition in Greenwich in the Maritime Museum right now, the pirate exhibit, that I plan on going to. Some guy in the comments was claiming to be Benjamin Hornigold's great grandson or something, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, and he trained over 2,500 pirates. I'm like, that's a lie. No, he didn't. He was a pirate captain, then he turned privateer. He wasn't like this magic pirate school instructor. I'm like, what are you on about? I'm like, well, how do you even know? I'm like, can you post some sources? His source was Ancestry.com. Where you can fill out your own family tree. And most of the people in it, I'm like, how come all of these people right, that you're related to don't exist anywhere else online. This is the only source for it. Please explain. And then he sends me a Google link showing the ancestry link, and he goes, see, it's on Google too. I'm like, yeah, pointing to this one source, which you filled out yourself. And I just, yeah. I have it all screen capped if you want to see it. That's what I do.
Mine will always be, I want to know who the heck Canute was. That pirate, that French pirate will always annoy me. Because there's this record of him attacking Louis Delaware.
Being annoying. French are very good at that.
And then he just disappears.
One of my most mysterious pirates I want to know who it is actually my next book. I have Pirate Ghosts and Buried Treasures of Atlantic Canada, which the goal is supposed to come out, sometime next month or something. I haven't even announced it yet, but it's coming. But anyways,
Good.
in that book, there is a source that talks about a man named Captain Spanish America, and I don't know who the hell that is. There's no leads to go off of. I don't know who Captain Spanish America is. That's the only name. I don't even if it was a typo, it's a typo for what? I don't even know what they could be trying to say.
Capitan Mexicano!
You have a shield.
Yeah, what's the symbol for Spanish America?
I think the Mexican flag's pretty cool. It's like the eagle and the snake.
That is pretty cool.
I imagine that's what his Jolly Roger is.
Ash comes up in his ship, and it's like low on the water, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I can make that joke, guys. It's okay.
But I will say I probably need to be hopping off here in about 5 or 10 minutes, something like that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we covered the episode pretty much, so.
Yeah. Any last minute things before I go ahead and hop off here?
Oh! Since you're here, listen.
Yeah, my hat. It's coming along.
Do you hear it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's getting annoyed because it wasn't making that noise, but now it's making that noise, and I'm happy.
How did you make it make the noise?
Huh?
How did you make it make the noise?
It's trying to get the right mixture of shellac. Because, like, you can make hats where they're stiffer than Jack Rackham at a Mary and Ann Bonny party. But you do want to have, like, a little bit of give. But you don't want to have so much give that it's, like, losing its shape. So.
Cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, looking forward to it. But, alrighty, well, I'm going to go ahead and hop on off here for the night, but thanks for the invite. I'm not
Thank you for being on.
Help I was, but
Nice to talk to you.
This was great.
But, alrighty, well, I'll leave you guys to it.
All right.
Thank you.
There, guys.
See? Now that was fun.
That was fun. Yeah, Adam's definitely the better. It was good to get him on because he's more knowledgeable about.
Well, what I was planning on doing was I was planning to do this one to let's prepare to bring Adam on. Let's just get everything out about and then bring him. Nope. You know what? This worked.
Best thing to do. Closing thoughts. Remember, it's all legit because they found that spoon.
Oh my God, that spoon! But here's Adam's current book right here, Arabian Gold. I love this book. I'm like, seriously, this is one of the best popular history books I've seen probably in years now. Like, this is about a lesser known pirate look how thick it is. But the best part of it is, oh wait, that's the, like, there's so many sources cited. This is incredible. This is history right here. I don't see a single entry that says "Trust me, bro." Or was it one of the ancient Greek historians? I saw it in a dream.
I saw it in a dream. The guts and bones fell in a certain way. The portions.
Or if you're Graham Hancock.
That's a very long.
So a friend of mine gave me this, and I was just dumbfounded because I knew some of these appeared later. No, apparently they're in this size and very similar bowl shape. They appear very early in the 17th century. The Dutch apparently loved them because the Dutch.
Surely that would be a lot of extra effort to smoke, though.
The big reason for the longer stems, it actually cools the smoke. So you're hanging out at the bar and you got your beer or your whiskey or whatever you want. You're just having a nice, relaxing night. I mean, this now carrying this around, no, that's not going to work. But hanging out at your house, hanging out at the bar, this is like the perfect pipe for that. And then, like, on the complete other end of the spectrum, there's the really tiny ones that are only about that big, which those are actually the more common ones. You pretty much smoke it like a cigarette.
Yeah. That just makes me think wizard pirate. No overland trek for you. You're going on sea, you little shit. Get on the. I wonder if
what's wrong with you? I'm not Blackbeard. I'm Gandalf. Wait,
that would be a fun spin-off series. Pirates set in Middle Earth. Because there's water, there's boats, they exist.
I think there actually are. Are there actually pirates in Tolkien?
I don't know, but it wouldn't be too much of a stretch with everything else that's going on. Because we know boats exist because Frodo goes off on one at the end of the book. So boats, they're a thing.
It has been such a long time that now I'm getting a little perplexed now. Hang on, I gotta look this up.
They're pre-gunpowder though, so they'd probably be fast raiders. Get up alongside, jump on, and hand-to-hand combat.
Corsairs of Umbar.
Yep.
We're a race of men hailing from south of Gondor. Well, there you go. There are pirates in the lore.
There we go.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to head off.
Indeed. Well, it's been fun.
Has definitely. Thank you for coming on tonight. And
Thanks for having me.
I do think we should make this like if not weekly, at least monthly. Like, just.
Well, as I said, I've got a lot of guests that I could bring on. The organisers of Whitby Pirate Festival, good friends Elias and Michelle, Peter Boland, who runs the Pirates Ahoy community. I could get some reenactors on. I'm starting to make friends with reenactors, so I could get a few on. There's one guy I know called Peter Daggs. He's in the 1740s, sort of maybe a bit earlier, sort of like William, like Jacobean rebellion sort of era.
Oh, speaking of 100 years before that, I know that a lot of folks on here are interested in 17th century history in general. There is a new English Civil War group starting up well, it's already started up. It's a joint Canadian Northeastern United States effort. It's called Cavaliers and Roundheads. You can find them on Facebook. There's a lot of big names when it comes to like decent makers, decent historians attached to it. So like it's definitely something worth checking out if you want to get into that time period.
And also, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. Once I've done a bit more research and got some better, this is a costume from Amazon, I'll admit to that, but it's a placeholder. I want to get some proper, period accurate 17. So I'm going to go for about 1750. Just before Woodes Rogers come to. You've got a little bit of golden age, a little bit where the going's good, and then it starts to decline. I'm interested in that period, seeing how it dropped off. And I'm going to set up my own group. It's going to be called Captain Black's Privateers. Throwing privateers in there because, a lot of them didn't call themselves pirates. So they like to dress it up a bit. And I'm a privateer. Your letter of marque. You broke your letter of marque 3 months ago.
What happens if you hurt a pirate's feelings? Do you know what happens?
No.
They'll shed a private tear. On that note, take care, everyone. Have an awesome night.
Fair winds and following seas.